Nambila, and I'm a master student. And today, I want to present you my final project for geospatial visualization. When this project was given to us, we had three options. Either we could do programming, analytics, or read a paper and kind of write a review about it. And for my last project in the class, I wanted to do something special and something different. So I decided to go the programming route. And one of the four requirements for the programming class was you need to be a problem driven design study, often based around a specific data set. And the technique should be showing how to encode a specific interaction, and the implementation can either be a new or based on previous algorithm, and it should be interactive with something similar to the distilled articles. The project I decided to do is to create a dynamic map of farmers market in the United States. And the way I wanted to do it is instead of having a statics map that just doesn't move and always look the same, I wanted to create a design that allowed the user to modify the map to fit more of their needs, so they also feel like they have a say into the design. And so the data set that I used was a former market per category in the US, and the tools I use is D3 JSON, which stands for Data Driven Documentation, Visual Studio Code, and any web browser. And for the case of this particular scenario, I decided to use Google Chrome because it was well integrated with Visual Studio Code, and I could just spin a server to see my visualization. And so here is a little bit of the sample data that I use. And as you can see, they're all on a JSON format, so which fit really well into D3 JSON. And the way it works is I selected a base map, and I opened everything into Visual Studio Code where I uploaded all my data, and I imported the D3 library, and I was just tweaking it. So going back to the visual and then tweaking it as I wanted it until I got the final product. And so the way I started this project is the methodology I use is I started with a regular base map showing the US mainland. And then after what I did is I kind of create an outline with point of this same base map. And then because each point is a single figure, I just modify each point to become hexagon. So I could either now change the size of the hexagon or the color of the hexagon. And so instead of me just talking about it, let's go into a demo. So first, what I want to show you is my data set. So as you can see, first, if you go into data, we open all the data that I use. Here, if you open, we go into, let's use text edit, for example. So in my text edit, you can see here it's a JSON file showing the US. And if you go back to it, we can see that, let's see, let's make sure back into the data. You can see that we have the US JSON file that I just showed, but also we have a different marketplace in the US. And also, which was a good thing, is I found a data set that separated everything per category, such as cheese, coffee, craft, flour, fruit, seafood, tofu, trees, vegetable, wine, and etc. And once I had all those data, I had everything that I needed, and I just uploaded everything into my Visual Studio Code. And as you can see here, I have all my data on the side. And from here, I had all I needed to start writing my code. So what I did, let me move this window so we can see a little bit more, a little bit better. So as you can see first here, I just use a regular HTML, and I open it here, and I imported the D3 JSON library. And from here I was just able to call and kind of read over the documentation on how first get my base map, then put point on my base map, and then change all those points into hexagon, and then into those hexagon I was able to upload my data into those hexagon. And on the top of that, I was able to run an analysis that will either let you pick the category or the size of the hexagon, and then based on that, you can visually see how it works. And so it was a easy code to put together. I feel like the data that fit this use case in particular was the hardest thing to find. But once the data were there, it just needed to make the vision happen. And so once I finished writing my code and I started my server, that's what the final result look like. It gives you this map, uh, which is on my server. As you can see, I can change the size of each hexagon. I can select it from 2 to 14.5. And so what I really like to do is just pick either 9 or 10.5. So for this case, let's go with 9. You can see that when you select 9, the size of the hexagon change. And if we select 7.5, the size of the hexagon change too. And if we select 5, the size of the hexagon change. But that's not it, because again we wanted to make it a dynamic visualization for any user. So what they can do is either they can zoom in and they can pick a particular hexagon and they can see the number of market in this area. But once they click on it, you can see it show here, for example, it say 3 market in this area. They can, when they click on it, it show all the market on the side. But they can also click on those hyperlink, which will drive you into the web page of this market, which show you again the real use case of this scenario. So if we go back, let's try to change the size and maybe put it to 14.5. So also something that you need to understand is the bigger the size of the hexagon is, the more dilution happen in the detail. So bigger hexagon, we have more in the area. So for example, here you will see this hexagon has 217 marketplace, but then when you go into a 3.5 size, it only show you, for example, maybe 12. Because it's smaller, more detail, bigger, less detail. And also in category, here is overall. It's just mixing all those marketplace. But here what you can do is you can go and you can put either any category that you like, either baked good, cheese, coffee, craft, flour, fruit, herbs, honey, jams, meat, nursery, nuts, organic, and all the rest of the list. So for example, let's say I wake up on the weekend on the Sunday morning, and I'm feeling like I want to go buy fruits, for example, and I don't know which market I want to go to where they sell fruits. I don't want to go to any market and they say, oh, we don't sell fruits here. So what I can do, I can come to this website and just click on fruit, and then it's going to filter it, and then it will only show the marketplace that contain fruit. And even if we change the site to bigger hexagon, for example, you can see there's a little bit less market showing. So for example, here, this top one only showed 2 market in this area. But if I go back, I put to overhaul, you can see it went from 2 to 5, which is really interesting. And lastly, something I wanted to showcase is this tool, the interpolar. So sometimes you want a more rich area with data to only be the one showing, and you don't really care about those areas that only have like maybe 1 or 2. So what you can do is you can move this, for example, and you will see what it really looks like, the mostly dense one. So you see, for example, here in yellow it's only the green only the 2, but all the other ones are the one, maybe I would say above 10. And which is really nice too, depending on the use case. And again, it go back to the methodology that I had when I wanted to start this project, I felt like I always create design where the user was just there and just seeing what I created, but they had no input on it. But with these, it feel more dynamic. Like the user can either decide to change the size of the hexagon because it maybe looks better than them, make it bigger, make it smaller, or they can see all the marketplace, or they can really target which marketplace that they're looking for. And what I can even say is based on this visualization that I create, other people can maybe export only what they need. So let's say someone is working on a project and they only want to see trees, a project where they focus on trees marketplace. They could come to my project, pick the size of the hexagon, pick the trees category, maybe take a screenshot of it, and then they can use this visualization into their project. And so if we go back to the presentation and to wrap up, we're gonna cover and to wrap up, we can see that first, this design is problem driven in two ways. It's problem driven toward people looking for marketplace, but also people wanting to use the tool as a dynamic visualization. And secondly, the implementation worked perfectly on database. Is really interactive. You can click on it, you can really modify it, and also we saw that the data-driven documentation is a really great tool. The only thing I need to do is import the library into my Visual Studio Code and run the code, and that's what my final product looked like. And I can say since it's my last product I submitted for this class, I kind of use I encompass I kind of put together all that I learned into this project, and I'm happy for it and looking forward for feedback. Again, this is Gabriel Nambila for geospatial data visualization. Thank you, and hope you have a great day.